Okay, and we are live. Welcome, everybody, to the GAF Admins Podcast. I am Lance Lennon, Technology Director for the Eagle Grove Community School District, Eagle Grove, Iowa, small town in north central Iowa.
Hey, everyone. I'm Mitch Dowhauer, Technology Director, Spencer Schools in Iowa.
I'm Phil Trimble, IT Director for Pocahontas Area Community School District in Iowa.
Pay no attention to that little background music. Sorry, Chad. Go ahead.
That's all right. I'm Chad Fricks, Director of Innovation and Technology at Spirit Lake Community Schools in Northwest Iowa.
Excellent. Well, welcome everybody tonight to the Christmas edition of the GAF Admins Podcast, or should I say the GSFE Admins? We'll just go G Suite because Chad likes that one.
I do like G Suite. I feel like I'm calling pigs or something.
There are some people who may not know what that is.
It's about all we have in Iowa, right?
We're done there, hog calling. Tonight we are missing Carl for a while. He may pop in. He has a board meeting this evening, so he thought it would probably be a longer one, so he may not make it tonight, but he's hoping to. So how's everybody's Christmas season going?
Busy.
Busy.
Okay, how many Christmas concerts? Who's got the record to this year?
Just 2.
I had 3, so
2.
I had 3 also. So 3 seems to be me and you, Chad. I skipped some cousins. Shh, don't tell them. Otherwise, I would have been to 4.
Right.
My wife did go to 4. She went to a preschool one. They do that during the day, so I couldn't get away.
Yeah, right. Couldn't get away.
I like the preschool ones. I actually would go to the preschool ones. They're
Lance
fun.
has a lot going on during the day, so he missed it.
Right.
No, I would have to travel.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
It wasn't like at your school.
No. I work in a different district than my children and the children that my wife watches go to school at.
Oh, gotcha.
And I just ended a sentence in a preposition.
At. I know, and that drives me nuts. But you're all right.
And I did it. Maybe we'll edit that out. So we're going to talk Christmas stuff and stuff that Google has given us. Number one thing is we did change the name of the G Plus community. Did go to GSFE admins, Google Suite, G Suite for Educators admins community. So if you're looking for it out there, for some reason you found this before you found that, the name has changed. Did change the Twitter address for formerly GAF admins is now GSFE admins. On the Twitters, I'm trying to figure out how to change the YouTube channel name. I think I can change that. It'll still be linked to the old email address. I will try and get the new one and just link the 2 also. But life is happening along with all of this, so it's not like I can just dedicate all my life to this wonderful podcast. And I want to apologize for the audio on last month's podcast. It was nowhere near as bad for us that were live in the Midwest Google Summit, but anybody else, it was terrible. It was my fault. I had placed the 2 mics too close to each other. So what was happening was they were both feeding into the podcast, and it would pick up your voice, and then the second one would pick up your voice. And so that's why you were getting that echo. My fault completely.
We were not broadcasting from the toilet.
No, although great acoustics in those bathrooms. So I wanted to talk tonight. I guess we go through the show notes tonight, and the first thing we talk about, of course, after introductions is what's new. So I went through and I said the community name change and the Twitter name change. Those are new for us right now. Phil, you had something cool I'd like you to talk about. What were you going to talk about tonight?
I'm going to talk about the new universal single sign-on for Clever.
And go for it.
You want me? Oh, go. Okay.
It's all you, Phil.
Right off the bat there. Pull up my notes.
I was very excited about this as well. So
yeah, it's pretty cool.
This was a cool announcement.
So the new update is basically single sign-on universal for the Clever portal. Now, this does not include the Clever rostering apps, and there's 250 so apps. So what you can do now is you can take your favorite app. Ones that we've been using are like Renaissance Learning applications, and you can use that on the Clever landing page. So if you're not familiar with Clever, what it is, it's basically a tool that syncs roster data from your student information system to applications that you're using. So the SIS system information can provision and update student and teacher accounts automatically. It also provides instant login, and they also have the Clever portal, which is similar to a customized application landing page. So now the customized application page isn't limited to the 250 applications. Now you can add your favorite apps to that using the new universal single sign-on option.
So what are some things you're using it for?
Like right now, we are for the new update, we're using it for the Renaissance Learning, Accelerated Math, Star Math, Accelerated Reader. What we're using Clever in general for, oh man, we have a lot of applications out there. The main one that has saved us a huge amount of time is MAPS testing, NWEA testing. That saved us hundreds of hours of work, along with Hapara, Teacher Dashboard. That's also rostered up to our SIS.
So you do it with NWEA?
That's correct. Yep, flawless. Love it.
Yep,
Nice.
so do we. We use it for that. We use it for discovery learning. We have a lot of different ones plugged into it too. We're not doing any of the new single sign-on stuff because I can do that direct through Google. But it is a pretty cool feature.
Right.
So
I'm sorry, go ahead, Chad.
The new universal SSO stuff is basically a password repository, right? So
Yeah, save passwords.
Yep, it'll save passwords, but for that kid. So like I use LastPass for all my save passwords. This would be a kid's version of LastPass, sort of. Obviously, I don't think it can generate passwords for them like LastPass can that are super secure, but I'm envisioning this for little kids. Once Google comes out with the right device with a world-facing camera, Google, so that I can have a tablet running Android apps and then make this sort of their launch page. They're used to the tablet interface, right? With all the icons of the applications they use. I'm envisioning the same sort of thing with that tablet mode for those little kids. I get them signed in. They get an interface that looks similar to a tablet interface, and they can click and go. Maybe having to sign in one time with those apps that may not save their username and password or be rostered from Clever's SIS integration. So I'm really hopeful for this. All the pieces seem to be falling into place if they would just release the right device, so I could buy about 1,500 of them. It would be a happy day.
And that's kind of interesting too if you couple that up with the QR code sign-in.
That's what I was going to ask about. Because a lot of people have been asking about that one. This littles, the biggest issue is, of course, the argument: can they sign in with usernames and passwords?
We have a very adamant friend that
Tammy Lind. She doesn't care if we say her name, and it's a shout out to Tammy Lind. She has worked with the littles and says they will learn it and they can do it, and I agree that they can. But what if
for
we
those
make
of
life
you who
easier?
don't know, Miss Lind, she is a tech integrationist in South Milwaukee, and she
will
works
be
with
at iTech next year.
I also do know that every solution does not work for every school district, and that does not work for ours. So.
Well, Spencer has special kits.
So halfway through the kindergarten class, after our kids are familiar with the different, script font on the Chrome keyboards and, start to get that dexterity built up, halfway through that kindergarten year, absolutely. The beginning of the year, nah, they're not ready for that. So QR codes work well.
So explain the QR codes, because that's what I was saying is I get a lot of questions from people that are asking, we want a way for our kids to be able to hold up a QR code to the camera so our kids can log in. I explain Clever. Then, of course, they're like, well, what's Clever? And then you have to go into the long. So give me the short rundown on that, somebody.
Well, I can tell you how we use it. Right now, you can go in, we'll set up our Chromebooks into kiosk mode. And then once they're in kiosk mode, it will push directly to Clever's landing page. And then there, they hold up their Clever badge, and it will instantly log them in with their assigned Clever badge, which is their QR code.
Right. And so they're not actually signing into the Chromebook. They're signing.
No, they are now. So that's a new feature. They do have that now, where you can pop the Chromebook open and you sign in using a QR code that gives you access to Google credentials. So new updated way, but I still do it the way Phil is, the old way. I haven't changed ours because our kids aren't doing anything at that level that requires them to have an individual Google account yet.
Yep.
If we get to that point,
So-
that'd be awesome, and I'll change it. But
Here's the other piece of that clever integration that I was a little disappointed with. Infinite Campus and Clever talking to each other. In order for all of that to sync with Clever, the student has to have a portal account. So in order to get pre-K and kindergarten kiddos working with Clever now, because they're forcing you to move to the API, because it used to be a CSV sync. They're now forcing you to go to the API, and in order to use the API with Infinite Campus, they have to have a portal account. And our policy was they didn't get a portal account until 5th grade, when they actually started looking at gradebook and things. So we're going to have to change our policy, which means a little bit more work for me, unless I can complain loud enough and hard enough to Infinite Campus to change how that connects.
I talked to their support this week, Chad, and they
Who support, Mitch?
I talked to the Clever support folks, and they are not requiring us to go to the API version. They're still supporting the user way. So basically, you create them a user with certain permissions, and it syncs up that way. So that's what we're doing.
Right. So you are getting a completely opposite story than I did when I talked to the Clever support people.
They like Mitch better.
Maybe.
Yeah, right. They gave me a deadline as to when they were going to force the switch. Yeah, they gave me a date. I don't remember the date. It's in an email.
It was a real important date for you. That's why I remembered it.
Get that email?
What? Mitch?
Mitch,
Phil?
did you receive that email?
No.
I didn't. I never received that email either.
Maybe they just don't like Chad.
There you go.
Maybe they just don't like Chad.
But ours isn't using a CSV like that, though. It's, I don't know. Maybe it's different.
It is.
Okay.
It is on the back end. That Clever user is basically
It's
extracting the user's exporting to a CSV to an SFTP server. That's what happens on the backside.
Okay.
It's gonna go get that.
Yeah, they didn't give me that story at all. They said, "Hey, yeah, we're just fixing and recoding the way that Infinite Campus, CIC changed the way that they logged in or something, and they fixed it, and you're good to go." So I haven't asked if I needed to switch the API.
So as we're talking about it, and this is one of those things that other people ask me, is they always look at you and they say, "Okay, so how much is this Clever?" And this is the part that exactly. So Clever's free, and
to school districts.
Kind of look at you and go, "Huh? How can it be free when it does all this wonderful magic stuff?" So
right, because
go ahead.
I also work on FlexiSched, and we are becoming a Clever.
That is the adjustables, or the what is it?
Yeah, you did that bad.
I totally did. I was going to give you a great shout out, and I blew it, and I apologize.
Flexible scheduling application for your RTI or
there we go.
MGSSP.
Premier flexible scheduling program for all your flexible scheduling needs.
There you go. But we're becoming in the process of becoming a vendor with Clever, and the vendors are pay for all the cost portion. They have various pricing models and such. So we're in the process of doing that whole deal. That's why it's free to schools to use. So it's free for the end user person, and the vendors of the products that integrate with Clever foot the bill.
So explain that to some people, because they're going to question.
Sometimes they'll charge you for that, though. Like right now, Hapara.
The vendor will charge you back.
Yep. The vendor's charging us to use Clever with their application.
Right.
Okay. So explain then, and Chad, you're going to have the better knowledge on this one. Why is it beneficial for you as a company to absorb the cost of the Clever tie-in and allow it to be free for educators versus what Hapara is doing and charging back to the user?
I mean, that's just PR. Good salesmanship. Clever integration is built in at no additional cost is pretty huge, especially in a product like FlexiSched that relies on those rosters. I don't know if you're using Clever, you're relying on the rosters for a good portion of your product, probably. So, I mean, that's just the vendor choice, and both models are supported fully by Clever. It's up to the vendor, really.
So, and I know the ones that we've looked at, and we haven't gone to Clever, and I really keep thinking I should. And the more you guys talk about it, the dumber I sound by not doing it. But it's impressive when you can say a free product that does all of these things for you, mostly free. And I think for you guys in FlexiSkid, when you say that to a school district, will absorb the cost. And I think technically you'll probably charge it back just because you will get the money back in the cost of somebody that's buying your product.
Right.
But I think it's a great tool.
Huge. I mean, think of those giant districts that have hundreds of kids coming and going every day. It's a daily sync. So, and if you're API, I think it does it 3 times a day.
I was going to say, what is the time frame? Because here's my other question. So there are certain things that'll sync at, they'll say we'll do an 11:59 p.m. sync, and others that may do an after 12 sync. Is there a chance that something may sync? Can you set the sync up so that you don't miss? So in other words, instead of being 2 days removed, it's only 1 day removed. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Yeah, it does. And that's how you can set it up. You can set up your SIS to sync at every 4 hours, and then Clever or other applications will sync after that, or every 3 hours.
Yeah, it's all in the setup.
Cool.
But I'll tell you, using, say, Hapara, for example, and with all of our students that we have, it would take us about a week and a half to get that CSV file ready to go after all the add and drops that we did the first 3 days of school or the first semester, second semester. Now it's instant. It's, give it that 3 to 4 hour wait period right there, and they're in the new class. The teacher has that student in there and ready to go. It's not a 2 week wait anymore. So it's definitely worth the price if you have to pay for it.
And so, but you're talking the cost for you for Hapara, do they charge you per user, or is it just like a one-time fee or an annual fee?
There's a one-time annual fee.
A one-time annual?
No, an annual fee.
An annual fee, which is how they're billed from Clever.
Gotcha. So, and this is all based upon SIF, or the School Interoperability Framework, correct?
No.
No.
And I was wrong.
No. It's strictly it's a CSV export and import. Clever's big thing is they take the CSV exported from almost any SIS, and do all the finagling to make it compatible with all those products. So that's what they do. So instead of us sitting at our desk and making all these hundreds of CSVs to upload to these various systems, Clever does that for you, and daily or 4 times a day or whatever you set it up to do. So they're the CSV finaglers, if you will. And they are also one roster certified. That's sort of it started as a CSV format to move those rosters around, a common format. They now have their own API as well. So, and that's what Infinite Campus and them are using, I think, is the one roster API to move the data back and forth, or one way actually.
Excellent. So great Christmas gift there, Phil. Filled quite a bit of time. That's
it's huge.
Are we checking the questions on air?
Yep, I've been watching. We've got 2 viewers, 3 right now, and nobody's asking any questions.
Well, ask away.
You can always ask a question. We're watching. That is something I wish they would build into Hangout on Air like this, is when we open it up for question and Q&A, is why not allow me to have it right here on my dashboard, but I have to have a separate device over here that has the viewing window open so I can see questions as they pop up.
So something I wanted to mention as an early Christmas present that happened today is Awesome Tables broke about mid-afternoon. So not really a present. Sort of the
okay, but you had
stealing all the presents.
But you had a great solution to that.
Yes,
because it didn't break.
That's what I was going to mention. It didn't break. It just embedding them in an old Google site broke for some reason, but you could still send them to the proper URL from awesome-table.com. So if you had systems relying on Awesome Tables embedded into a Google site, that piece was broken. but you could send out a notice to your users using those systems and say, if you're getting error messages when going here, please try to go here. And the second here would be the URL to the actual awesome table on the web. And it works just the same. It just doesn't have all your pretty theming going around
Could you,
on around
take
it.
the new embed code and just put it like in an iframe?
Yeah, I didn't get enough time, Mitch. It was towards the end of the day when I found out it was broken.
Or an embed widget or something?
Right. It was broken on the old sites, and it worked on the new sites apparently. So
Weird.
I don't know what Google did, but they broke that today.
And they very well could have been doing some testing on the old sites for portability.
Right. Migrating them to the new, which is coming soon.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
All right. What else happened today? Oh, it was just recently rolled out. We were talking about this before the show, Mitch. The new bounce notifications. So if you ever had sent out emails and kind of wondered, did these actually go through because the bounce notifications didn't come back or came back and ended up somewhere else, they've improved bounce notifications now. So you should know when your email doesn't go through. What are you drinking, Chad?
A grande or whatever. No, the biggest size caramel latte from Starbucks. It is very, very yummy.
A lot of calories.
You're right. I'm on the Christmas diet for this week and this week alone.
Is that the seafood diet?
Yeah, seafood diet.
Just don't include seafood.
No, not for Chad. This has a shellfish allergy. For those of you that don't know,
I am going for my daily run after the podcast, so I'll burn part of this off.
Did you run during the polar vortex?
Hell no. It's cold outside.
I don't run at all. So
should we let everybody know how cold it was here the last couple of days? Was it minus 22?
Here, I'll see if I can find a screenshot.
In the north central, northwest Iowa area, and the polar vortex came through and came down, and our low was, I want to say, wind chill was like 32 below.
And
those are Fahrenheit degrees, not the Celsius ones. So
that doesn't touch what Mitch and I saw. That doesn't touch what Mitch and I saw.
Northwest Iowa, the Okoboji Great Lakes area, it is always colder up there. And I don't know, you have nothing to block the wind or what it is, but it's cold.
Once you get to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit, it is minus 40 degrees Celsius.
Can you guys, that's kind of got a weird reflection. But that was real temperature. And then look at the real field below that, negative 38.
Yeah, man, that's cold.
And that was at 8:49 a.m. It was obviously colder than that over the night. So that was a Sunday morning, I think.
When I started my truck, it made sounds it shouldn't have.
It's because it wasn't. Mitch has got a new gas truck this year. He had a diesel before, right?
Yeah, that wouldn't have been good.
Would have been a totally different sound.
Yeah, like not starting.
The sound of gelled diesel. So, all right. Anybody else got any Christmas presents?
Well, they have a whole bunch of updates coming on the Google update calendar, but should we?
Well, I thought some great things that were out there. One other thing too is Citations is officially back in Google Explorer. One of the things that was lost in the education world was Citations under the tools for like your Google Docs. They did bring that back now in Explorer, so you can actually go back in and do citations. I don't think you can cite pictures yet, but you can cite the sites. So that was nice. I'm glad they brought that. The site, C-I-T-E, the sites, S-I-T-E-S.
Yep.
And that is an MLA, Chicago, or APA.
And which one do you hate, Mr. Lennon?
I hate APA. I hate it with a passion.
Mr. Lennon went on a bit of a rant the other day regarding citing sites and such.
Lance rants?
Lance rants.
That's what I do. Nobody has anything else new and exciting?
Not really.
From Google's.
No.
It is the holiday season at the Google's.
It is, and we're getting ready for Christmas break. So I think everybody's brain is. When is everybody done? By the way, for done for break. What day do your kids get out?
Oh my goodness, I think Friday.
We're out at 12:30
You
on
get out on
Thursday.
You go to school on Friday, or you're out Friday?
I'll have to
We
look
don't.
that up. You know, I honestly don't pay attention because I'm at work almost every day. So
I'd have to look too. We don't have school Friday for sure. It's a PD day. But I don't know about Thursday
PD
with
day
kids.
on Friday?
Thursday.
We're hardcore, Mitch. We're hardcore.
Oh, they're going to
So do
be
you
all
actually
about
go
paying
that
attention.
day, or is that just kind of a PD day?
Is it a flexible PD or like real PD?
It's flex day. They have to log hours, turn them in.
Gotcha. Did have a comment. Mark Krukow talked about Team Drive. Did they?
Oh yeah, Team Drive. I did not personally sign up for Team Drive, but the people at CISA 5 did, and we're very excited about its possibilities.
My first question was, with the ability to share, what's the point of Team Drive? And they put it very plainly: is ownership.
Everyone
just
owns it.
leave, yeah, everybody owns it. So if I leave, they don't have to worry about transferring the docs, and it's there.
Lance Lennon, great minds, because that was my first question. What's the difference between Team Drive and regular Drive? And that was their one thing was ownership.
Yeah.
Anything in a Team Drive is owned by that team and not an individual user, so you don't have to transfer ownership.
But it's only within the domain.
Yeah. Yep.
So
But they've made transferring ownership quite easy to do. So
yeah, I'm with you, Phil. I still don't quite understand Team Drive, but maybe someone can prove me wrong and come up with a fantastic use for Team Drive.
Hey, Boggs, listening in, Bog Patterson from Boone, Iowa. I don't know if the polar vortex got that far south. Boone's right on the on Highway 30. But he asked, do you let students use the Google Drive app on their non-Chromebooks?
Yes.
Yep, so do we.
Phil's frozen.
yeah, no, sorry. Yeah. Yes, we do.
The vortex got him.
I was reading other comments.
Yeah, we allow, so we're one-to-one Chromebooks, so our kids really don't need to. Our staff are on MacBooks, and I do talk to them about Drive and Dropbox and any of those. The one caveat that I've always told them is, and I know there's backup and I know I can do recovery, but malware, if you do get the encryption viruses, is because those files are on your hard drive and would then sync up to Google.
Okay.
They can become encrypted in the cloud.
They can, but I just found something out today, Lance Lennon, because I
Sweet. G Suite.
I use the Google Drive app to back up. Maybe I
server.
should mention this when, shh.
We're not
Don't.
saying what it is, where it is. It's just being done.
Yeah, don't tell Google. But even like non-Google Doc files, I noticed today I had to revert to a copy. So when they change, they save copies up to 30 days old. So it's this
Like
repository of old files that never changes, like 10 terabytes of old that people never access, except someone accessed one today. And it kept both copies. So it had the ancient one and the new one. And then I said, learn more. And I clicked the learn more and I learned some more. It keeps revisions of even non-Google Doc files on those backups for 30 days.
Nice.
Yeah, this was a PDF.
Bog says it's only -9 down there in Boone. Right?
Okay.
So
yeah, I'm using the Google Drive app on a running on a server. And what I did was created a user, and with Google's very generous terabytes and terabytes of data per user, am backing up that share using the Google Drive app to the cloud. I also back it up via normal means. This is just a cloud-based backup, right?
Additional backup.
Yeah, additional backup. So it's been working pretty good. I got green check marks, except when someone logs directly into the share from a Mac device and it does those stupid dot files. It doesn't like to sync those.
Oh.
You know, like .trash and .ds store and dot whatever.
Yep.
And that was probably me who did that, because no one else can access it directly. They just get subfolders. So it was probably me on my Mac. But I cleared those out and got rid of all my red X's, and everything's green check marks. So yeah, that's working good for that purpose. And I learned today that you get 30 days of backup.
Did anybody see that in their drive? Have any of you seen the? I don't see it now. But there was somebody saw a new icon. Was it backup or? Evidently, I'm the only one here that saw something like that in their drive.
Yeah, I have not seen that.
What was it? Backups. Yeah, there's a section called backups down below your trash. I'm gonna see if I can get a screenshot here.
On the interwebs, like through a browser.
I don't have that.
Did you
I'm gonna go look now. I think I'm into seeing things, hallucinating.
Let's see if I can share my screen here real quick. I'm gonna. If I'm smart enough to do that.
It's the green button with the white arrow.
Here we go. And
I have no backup.
Infinite.
I have trash.
Right there.
Did you
see my screen right now?
I do see that. Cloud
so I don't know.
Wait, are you on
Are you running a personal account right there?
This is a personal account.
Okay.
No, this is my personal account.
I'm gonna go there and see.
But somebody I thought it was interesting that this one popped up, and I thought probably won't be too long before we get that back. I'm gonna stop now before we go to that infinite. There we go. But yeah, I thought that was kind of cool that started popping up in the personal ones, and probably won't be long before it shows up.
Has my cell phone backup on it.
It is on the
That's
personal
what
account.
said. It shows if you're doing photos from your phone, like your Android devices, that's where the backups are of that. So I don't know if that's
of device and app data. So not backups like I'm not really doing Google on my server.
So that was Bog's question. Do we use, and that digressed quite a bit, but it did. Mark did talk back about Team Drive. He had said one other thing is group permissions carry over for new group members. So as soon as you add a new group member, then all group permissions carry over. I think that's what he was saying there.
I think it would be useful in organizations that actually had teams of people working on projects, because people would come and go from a project over the lifespan of a project, and you don't want to have to like eliminate the permissions on every file that's in that team folder. So it does have its use cases in like corporate environments for sure. And even even certain school things have team projects, I kind of envision it maybe depending on how it would be cool if Team Drive was integrated into classroom groups, if that makes sense. Like,
it does totally make sense.
Yeah, like I'm gonna have this project and this is the team of 3. I want to create them a Team Drive. In case Johnny has to move to another group, I can just move Johnny to another group, and then it redoes all the permissions on everything in there. Does that make sense? So that's what my brain flow went to.
It would be a lot easier than sharing to groups and moving people in and out of groups.
Well, right, because you'd have to change the permissions on every sort of file in there, right? If a kid got kicked out or moved in to the group later.
No, not if you were sharing to groups.
No.
So I would just take them out of the group and put them in. So I think it's taking away having to put someone in a group.
I misheard what you said.
Or it's an easier way to make groups. But yeah, that's exactly it. If people come and go from a team, you don't have to redo permissions on files like we do.
It seems to do it for you.
Things. That's nice. So hey, Mark, excellent one. That's a good Christmas gift. Team Drive.
It is a good Christmas gift. Can I talk about a Christmas gift that's not really K-12 related, but still Google related?
Sure.
It wasn't really a Christmas. I bought myself Google Home when it first came out, but then started nerdily adding. My birthday was December 9th, so a little bit early Christmas. I got some Christmas birthday gifts / Christmas gifts of Samsung Smart Things Hub and a Philips Hue Hub, and that is so nerdily fun. Saying, "Okay, Google, turn on the Christmas tree." But oh, now my phone's answering. Sorry. Okay, Alphabet. Change the living room lights to red. Or better yet, okay, Google.
Change the bedroom lights to
Change
red.
the bedroom lights to red. So
How much are the Hue bulbs?
they're a little spendy. $35 or so.
Okay, but they're LED, right?
They're LED, so they last a very long time, and they are like seriously rainbow colors you can do with these things. It's so fun. And I've been playing with some third-party apps. You know, you can take your phone and point it at the TV with one of the apps, and it syncs the color to the color of the movie going on. So it's like ambient lighting sort of thing. They used to make a TV that did that. That sort of failed. But when you can do the whole room in that color, it sort of immerses you in the movie a little more. So you just seriously, you prop your phone up with the camera, looking at the TV, and then it changes the lights with
as the movie changes, your lighting is changing. Kind
Yeah.
of. And now, if you were doing the 3D television and had that going on also,
well, that would be cool.
whoa, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. And the other ones the kids liked was there's another app that does scenes. So my phone was playing a fireplace with the logs crackling and all that, and you can Chromecast that up on the TV, but then the lights change orange and red and flicker, and when it pops they go pop, and it's pretty cool. Very nerdily fun. Very, very nerdily fun.
So you have
just brought
Google
me
Home.
back.
I think it's a waitlist right now, isn't it?
Yeah, I pre-ordered them. They showed up on release day, and I've been playing with them ever since. I can't wait for them to expand their capabilities, but I saw Vimeo announced Google Home abilities just the other day, so I'm assuming more and more will come, especially once the full API gets released to vendors. It'll just be it'll rival Amazon's Echo, I would assume. It'll be cool. I in fact went after work today. That's why I didn't get home in time to change before the podcast to get some more light bulbs, so I can play with some more lights.
So,
How bright are those?
and this is again totally off topic, but how do you connect the light bulbs to your Wi-Fi?
You screw them in, and the hub finds them. It's not your Wi-Fi.
So there's
It's a 2.4 gigahertz channel for the Hue controller. It's its own.
so
network.
you get a controller. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
The controller's hooked to your network through the router.
to your Google Home.
Yeah, to the Google Home. Yep.
Nice.
And I do have one in my office that I've been playing with. I haven't quite found a educational application yet because it's not integrated with much. And besides that, its name is Home, not Office. So just like a Chromecast, which is educationally related, and it can cast certain things to the Chromecast. It doesn't have, just like a Chromecast, doesn't have the ability to lock them down with, say, a password or some sort of passcode to regulate access. So, again,
I thought Chromecast did have the ability to lock them down now.
product. How so, Mr. Lennon?
You
Can you do a
can't.
possible if then that statement, say in your server room, if the temperature increases to 90 degrees, then the red light comes on in your office?
Actually, Phil, they have sirens. So I could have a siren in my office that goes off and a red blinky light, because they do have multi-sensors. So there's light, motion, humidity, and temperature.
You could tie that to your light bulbs.
And then blink the light bulbs. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. Danger, Will Robinson.
So you're saying you can't
I could put the...
password protect your Chromecast?
If you know how, Lance Lennon, you tell me.
I thought you could.
If you know how, Lance Lennon, you tell me. Are you Googling it?
He's Googling it right
I am
now.
looking at it right now. I was trying to think that-
He's thinking way too hard.
No, I've got two Chromecasts, and they're actually still sitting in the box. So that tells you how good a job I'm
Hey,
doing.
Chad, is there a way you could somehow set up those Hue lights to like intermapper?
Oh yeah, you can do. I mean, Google Home is fully compatible with if this then that recipes. So we could do all kinds of things. It's really meant to do the other way. So you could say Google Home run whatever recipe you might have linked to your account. I don't know if it goes the other way, Phil. I'd have to play that.
Check the if this then that connector for home. So I've done. There's a lot of recipes probably already out there.
Oh yeah, there's tons. Yeah. I'd have to play with the from if this then that back to the home. I'm not sure how that piece works, but definitely the other way.
Google, if you're watching, Chad already has one, but Mitch, Lance, Phil, and Carl would love a couple of Google Homes and maybe some other stuff that we would gladly test and talk about.
For K-12 applications of your Google Home, we would dedicate a full
episode,
GSFE admin episode.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
I think that'd be awesome.
I think so too.
So you have 2 at home and 1 at work, or you have 2 total?
2 total. The 1 at work will probably be coming back home because the one upstairs obviously can't hear me when I'm downstairs. So,
but they mesh, and that's one of the nice things about you can. I think what they say, how many?
You can have
one covers 1,500 square feet,
right? Which almost covers.
But again, you wouldn't have the voice activation from a different location then,
right? So, I can run the lights from my phone on the app. That's not quite as fun as saying the words and having crap happen.
Thinking about making anything like the little Echo Dot, where you wouldn't have to have the full-blown device. You would have just a littler
extender. I don't know. You'd have to ask Google.
Just build it into Google Wi-Fi.
Yeah, which I'm also on the waiting list for. That should be coming when it is released. I pre-ordered, not waiting list. I pre-ordered that too. So I'll have a review on that as well. But Google Home it's fun to play with. Waiting for more capabilities. Excited to see what they're going to do with that when it's all said and done.
Nice. All righty. So that was a nice Christmas / birthday / Google gift.
The Google has the best gifts.
They do. All righty. So we had a question in the community that I thought we had at some point posted either in show notes, like if you subscribe to the podcast, I know on Podbean and iTunes and on Google Play, that we had put in a link to the GAM and the cloud directions. Things have changed a little bit with GAM, and Carl was going to talk about that. They have made installation super easy. I think it's 4 steps now.
Yeah,
and every step literally says, copy this in to your URL and click this. So they've done a nice job. And then when you do it in the cloud,
on Cloud Council,
in Cloud Council, it's slick and it builds in the shortcut, so you don't have to type in the gam.py every time too. Now it automatically, you just type in gam and your command like you would on your desktop. So
because Lance Lennon couldn't get the
alias.
Alias to work on his.
Get the alias to work on
Cloud Council.
Well, damn that Linux! It puts it in a weird spot.
Yep.
That's nice. They did that for me, so now I don't have to type GAM.
There you go. Yes.
Makes life easier. But Kim asked,
wasn't that in my original instructions, Lance Lennon? What command type to make the short alias?
No. Or it was and it didn't work for me.
It's probably one of those instructions that I just do and forget to write down in the instructions. You ever done that while making instructions?
No, never. Every time. But Kim had asked, is anybody out there paying for storage then on the Cloud Council so that you can actually have files out there rather than just having them during your instance and having to and we've talked about it on the show before, going in and editing files and via Pico or VI. But is anybody paying for council storage?
No, because it saves your files in your home folder. If you want to store them more permanently, you need that other storage.
Right.
I mean, the CSVs and stuff are going to change every time you use them probably anyway. So it's not hard to copy and paste from a CSV in this window into the Nano window on your cloud console. I can't justify the cost of saving me a Command C, Command V.
Yeah, and you buy it by the 10 gig or something like that, and you literally would need 10K.
Yeah, it's so small. So if you're just running GAM, I suppose if you're using the cloud console for something more robust, storage might make sense, but I'm not, so it doesn't.
All right. Anybody have an extension this month that they want to share?
I do. So this came up in a Voxer group I'm in. Yay, Voxer. And I thought everyone knew about it, but it was hide YouTube comments. It's an extension I push out to the students in our district, and it quite literally does what the name says, is it hides all the YouTube comments. And it's force installed, so they don't get to see comments. To me, most of the nastiness that is in YouTube is in the comments, although they're supposed to be, community monitored and all that stuff. They're not very well. Better than some other sites, but not completely. So I just turn them off with a hide YouTube comments extension, and poof, they are gone. And it's very, very handy, very useful. You don't have to worry about that piece of it anymore.
Peter Lee put in the comments, he, I think it's, I didn't know you can pay for storage on Cloud Console. He said, yay for cloud storage. And just like we talked about, Peter, for us, it's at this point, just because we're running GAM and the small files, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, you can buy cloud storage and for your Cloud Console and could run, I theoretically, and I think, yeah,
that's the word I couldn't think of earlier. Persistent storage for your Cloud Console. So it doesn't
you could run your own web server.
Yeah.
Right off.
It doesn't go poof after the session ends.
Yeah. So yeah, there's other extensions too. One that I did my Midwest Google Summit demo slam that I stole from Daniel Sharp out in Colorado is the YouTube one. And one of the ones I didn't get to on the extension is the ERP-DERP extension, and it'll change bad words in the comments to ERP-DERP. So you can actually let them read the comments, but then it takes out all the curse words and puts in ERP-DERP instead.
Do you get to manage the curse word list?
I don't know.
That guy's curse word list.
I think it's his curse word list.
I just turn them all off. They don't need the comments anyway, in my opinion. For educational purposes, they should be watching the video, not reading the comments, really. Unless, the author put something in the comments for an update to the video, but then to me, they should just update their video.
So GoGuardian allows you to enable block comments and block sidebars as well.
So the sidebar being like the next videos or whatever.
Yep, that's correct.
Recommended.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go down the YouTube rabbit hole and
that's a fun game.
Oh, I'm in a Hangout group that started getting into Reddit, and I said no. I said, I've got too much in my life already that if I got into Reddit, I think I'd end up like 3 years later coming out of the basement, full-fledged beard, no teeth, emaciated. Finally saw them all. No other extensions? Mitch?
No, got nothing.
Got nothing. Phil?
Well, technically, the Clever Universal SSO requires an extension. So.
It does. It does indeed.
Well, there you go. All righty. Well,
so do we have any time?
No, go ahead. No, we have 11 minutes.
Yeah. So, with the thinking that Google's eventually going to release a convertible Chromebook with a world-facing camera, which is what I'm waiting for. Google, I'm really waiting for if you could push those vendors along a little faster, or make your own. You made your own phone. You should make your own Chromebook now with a world-facing camera.
The Pixel.
Oh, right.
Oh, you're talking the Flip.
Yeah, the Flip. One of the items actually in the show notes, was picking the right Chromebook and what all of your processes are. I know what my process is. It doesn't, because it's a Chromebook, it's really just, as long as it can run a web browser, I'm happy. So I don't really put it through benchmarking per se, like you would an old PC, where you put it through all the benchmarking tests or apps to see what it can run. You know, isn't it capable of running AutoCAD, or can it render live video at 60 frames per second or whatever? So just wondering what other people's processes are. I mean, I do drop testing. We tear it apart because we do our own repairs. So we need to make sure that we can do that. That's a big thing for us. Can we tear it apart? Can we replace every part easily? That's more of a concern to me than if it can run Flash video faster. I don't even know if that's a thing. So wondering what everyone else's Chromebook benchmarking practices are. This kind of came through a listserv that we were on, a different listserv we're on. And I sort of looked at it first and I was like, huh. So just curious what other people are doing when you're choosing a Chromebook.
Go ahead, Mitch.
I beat the crap out of them. You know, I open them up, drop them from 6 feet. I run them under the faucet while they're on. You know, toss them around, beat them up. Basically, you're right. A Chromebook is a Chromebook. It's going to run Chrome. If you have 4 gig of RAM or better, it's going to run well. If it's got 2 gig, it'll run okay, but it won't run well. Then it comes down to, like you said, how easy is it to take it apart? Because even after they go off warranty, you're going to have to work on it. So we take it apart. We take a look at the parts. We buy from, you know, name brand manufacturers so we can get parts.
Right.
You know, things like that. Other functions like with Lenovo, you know, having the camera that flips over, that's great. Could that work, you know, in our favor down the road with Android? Depends on how they code it. So right. Kind of, you know, those kinds of things, just the little added features, whether they, you know, they go into convertible mode or not, touchscreen or not, or, you know, what size factor, you know, those normal little things. But there isn't a whole lot to it, really. Durability, you know, and even that's hard because we want the Lenovo N21s were just tanks, fantastic tanks. And then we bought N22s because it's the same chassis, and all the frickin' keys fell off. Oh. So, you know, they had a manufacturing problems with the keyboard. So we've had a huge number had to be sent back, a high percentage, because, you know, they had manufacturer issues when it was basically the same chassis. We thought, oh, this will be great, no problem. And then you get bit by something like that. You look back with like the original Dell 11s. Yeah, they were a great device, but the screws fell out of them and they literally fell apart. Things happen. It's just, you're not going to win.
Just walking down the hall. Yep,
you can go through all your processes and think you have all your T's crossed and your I's dotted, but in the end, until you get the things out in the wild and you get down the road with them a little ways, you really don't know.
Yeah, and my process is the same. It's well, durability, access to replacement parts. Can I fix it as much as I can in house? And what parts do I have? So, like, you know, our first revision after going from the Samsung 303s was with the Dell 3120s. Is it just made sense for me because we do half and then half of our fleet the next year, and then take 1 or 2 years off? We haven't decided yet, but because I already gone the 3120s the first round, second round was going to be 3120s just because I had stuff that I could cannibalize. So, you know, 2 years from now, 2 or 3 years when I'm doing another purchase, who knows what it'll be then.
Phil, how about you, buddy?
Yeah, definitely durability. But I'll tell you, I mean, I've kind of run into a little issue with a company that I deal with on my Chromebooks, the warranty. I've sent in, say, maybe 4 or 5 machines just recently, and it's taken over a month to get those back. And obviously, I'm guessing it's probably because it's a very popular model and the parts are scarce. But I mean, I could probably buy a Chromebook and have it the next day, you know, a lot quicker than sending it in for warranty. But at this moment in time, durability is number one. And back to Mitch, I mean, I think all the Chromebooks up, even now, I still have issues with screws falling out of certain models. you know, these kids are opening and closing these computers so often, you know, that you're going to run into hinge issues and all that. But I definitely have to say that, like with Mitch, I have Lenovo's, and those have outlasted my Samsungs.
I think anything should outlast the 303s. They were,
or the 500
but-
series.
You still kicking the 500s?
I still have them, man.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, we had a demo fleet of 303s that we still use as loaners when their HP 14s are in for repair, and it's going to take us a little longer than the usual 5 minutes. We hand them a 303 and say go back to class. So, yeah, those things.
Has anybody else had any issues with warranty taking so long?
Yeah, we are with the Lenovo stuff. I think a lot of it has to do with that keyboard issue. They're backed up.
Yeah, I haven't had any of those problems. I think I have 400 of those N22s, and I haven't seen a keyboard issue come in yet.
You're lucky. The keys literally fall off.
Maybe it was just Mitch's batch. Which could
There's
be. I mean,
there's a lot of forum posts and stuff out there. So
yeah.
You got the foreign batch.
and I got it. I have an email from the Lenovo rep directly, actually, apologizing and explaining that they switched manufacturers and anything new moving forward's been switched over. So
okay. Well, and I was so we're of the same opinion. Durability is probably the highest, and from what I gather, we're also of the opinion that benchmarking them against various websites that do such things is not really part of my process anyway. I mean, as long as it has, you know, moving forward, they're recommending 4 gigs to do the Android on Chrome OS stuff at minimum. I mean, and it moving forward.
Anybody buying 2 gig?
Yeah,
right.
I know. I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so that's like a no-brainer. I'm thinking if I can shove 8 in there, that would be better, depending on price point. But and like Mitch said, if you have, I mean, more RAM's going to run more stuff at the same time. So they can have 62 tabs open instead of 36.
And the only issue I could see is, you know, moving forward with some of the Android stuff, maybe being kind of heavy. But
right.
I mean,
I'm assuming since it's not running Android natively, there's some sort of emulator running in the background that making all that magic happen, which would require the extra RAM needed. So
right, and that's probably some of the coding they're working through.
Right. Yep. So I was just curious what everyone did. Did anyone post any comments? I don't have the.
Nope.
Q&A
I've been watching. Peter Lee was the last one to say hi. We do have 6 watchers right now. Hi.
Okay. Hi, 6 watchers. One of them is probably my wife, so she knows when I'm done. I can't hide down here.
Hi, Aaron.
No. Okay, Google.
Hey, stop.
If you say it loud enough.
Connected to a remote. Okay, Google, turn off Chad's computer.
There's like stuff going on now. Do you guys listen to the Material podcast?
No.
Okay. You also have to be careful. Yeah, any podcast that talks about Google or the Amazon one. Okay. Yeah, that they now say they have code words now because people complained that they were setting off people's stuff in their homes because they were listening to the podcast.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. My phone is locked to my voice, but the home is a family device. And
she did it. He froze.
Who froze? I froze? You all froze.
I'm here, Chad. I see you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're all back. Okay. I was like, oh, he froze.
Just Lance.
Yeah.
That's because it's like 8 o'clock.
So
It might be time to shut down.
When picking the right Chromebook device for Christmas presents, durability is probably the biggest factor. So we can tie that whole line back to the Christmas episode. And when choosing the device for your school district, durability, unless you're going to put it in one of those always-on tank cases.
Or both, or do both.
Or do both, maybe.
Well, but I will say this for the Everon cases, we did those. I liked them, but where the zipper, when it comes up on the sides, you know, you have that little bit of fabric because they built up so it can. The headphone jack.
Oh,
And so there's that constant pressure pushing that headphone jack or the power cord too that we ran into. So we stopped using the around cases because we were getting a lot of broken headphone jacks and power supplies.
I think
I guess it
Lance's
just matters on what model you're
is
using.
broke.
I broke my Googles. Oh, is it my microphone? Yep, right at about an hour. The USB mic, it's working real well. All right. So
Mr. Roboto.
yeah. And Carl
Chad.
didn't make it. It's sad. Yes.
When you were in South Dakota, did you notice that school that does the always on cases, a lot of them didn't use them?
Yes, they pulled them out.
Mhm.
I
A lot of the
think
kids,
I think they're a pain in the rump.
yeah, we wouldn't use them either.
We have them. We're using them for 7 through 12, and we allow our students to take them out of the case if they want to in the classroom, but a majority of them don't. So
Yeah, we went to school in Sioux Falls to see what they were up to, and yeah, they weren't. Some were in, some weren't. They must have had the
A lot
option.
of them weren't, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't see them lying around, so they weren't in there at all. They were outside of it. So,
all right. Well, we are up against our 8 o'clock here, so why don't we say Merry Christmas to everyone? Have a great holiday season. Enjoy your time off. Spend a little time with loved ones and family and friends. And thanks for listening in.
Merry
Thanks,
Christmas, everyone.
everybody. Cheers.